paracord. To fix it. Now it's on this rope. Oh yeah. Perimeter. Added. Got a bunch more to work with. Cross it back twice. That way with the original one was that. Once we dress it, and now tight perimeter rope. You have your rope around the 3 trees where you want to make your tree net. But how do you connect them? An easy way might be to get a loop on one end of the rope. I like my little alpine butterfly. And then pass the other one through. Pull it tight. As tight as you can. Lock it down with 2 half hitches, and you might think you're done. Awesome, that was really tight. I'm a big, strong guy. What's this? I'm losing all of the area once I start weaving. So even though I tried really hard to take it in tight, it's still actually very loose once you start pulling on it perpendicularly. So what can we do? I don't like to use any tensioning systems. I don't want to have any ratchet straps or climbing gear with me. I like my tree net making to be very raw, very vanilla. I want only the perimeter rope and the paracord with me, and the knick. So with only these materials, how can I make the perimeter much tighter? And at the same time, we'll also make it much prettier by making it a double fisherman's connection. So instead of having the loop with some half hitches, we'll make a double fisherman's. Currently, we'll only do one side because we'll still want to adjust the other side. So one side is a double fisherman's. The other side can currently slide about, and I'll make 2 half hitches so that it doesn't slide too far away or fall off. 1 half hitch, 2 half hitches. I like these for securing things in place quickly because you can undo them. The first thing we'll make is a prusik loop. So we have something that binds on the thick rope when we pull it sideways, but that can still be adjusted. The prusik loop is made by making a little loop with a double fisherman's knot. So this is like a small version training for the perimeter rope we're making afterwards. So once and twice and through. Dress it up, and that's one side. Now I can measure how big I want the loop. I don't want it too big nor too small. Let's say something like this. Leave me some rope for the other knot. I don't care how precise it is, to be honest. I hope this will be enough. Find the diagonals, which way they're going. So the diagonals I think are going this way. So once, twice, under both of these. Dress it up proper. And now when I pull these together, see, they make this beautiful connection. Awesome. So this is my prusik loop. Wrap it like this. So once through, twice through, and one final third time through. So what this gives us when dressed proper is a little anchor on the rope which can slide about, but when tension is placed upon it sideways, I can pull and it won't slip. It works and it needs a smaller diameter rope on a thicker one. On the other side, I'll grab 3 meters. I think it'll probably be too much, but I don't care because afterwards I can take these 3 meters and weave them into the net so the paracord isn't going to waste. I like to make the other end as well. Bang. And we have our 3 meters of rope. So what we do now is on the other side, we attach the rope with also some form of a knot that won't slide when pulled sideways, but can be readjusted. I think something like this should work. It seems to bind up pretty nicely. It has a similar idea to the other one, whereas the 3 wraps around, so it catches on that, binds and pulls sideways, but when you release pressure, it moves along. Awesome. This other end is kind of bothering me, so I'll just hide it away. So then it becomes like a little clove hitch next to 3 loops that bind the big rope. Now, what we can do is we have another set of points from which to tension the system. We pull the rope through once, and we get I'm not sure if this is a 1-to-1 or what, but we get to be able to tension the bottom rope like this. And see, the knot is now loose, and we could lock this in place. I'll do a half hitch, only pulling the loop through so it's easier to undo. Do another one for good measure. And that's it. This red one is now holding the tension, and I'm free to adjust this knot further by undoing the half hitches, pulling the rope through and as tight as I can, and then redoing the half hitches here tighter. But this still isn't as tight as we can go, because in our little paracord tensioning system, which we can now undo, put the tension back on the big perimeter rope, is that we can add another anchor point over here so that we can weave it through there again, and we get a bigger ratio of strength. What we do to get an anchor here is add a alpine butterfly. So how we do that is we wrap it 3 times around our hand, grab the middle one from underneath, and pass it over and through all 3 of them. And then you can just tighten it. And what you get is a little loop like this. So now we have another anchor here on this rope, which is important. So now I take my initial setup and I pull the paracord through this loop now. And what we can do is now pull this way. See our system? And now I can pull it even tighter. But I could add another butterfly somewhere over here so that we can get even more tension. Let's see, that ends up being somewhere here. Let's do a 1, 2, 3 around our hands. We take the middle one up and over through, and then dress it up nicely. As you can see, this additional step also makes it a bit more tricky because this butterfly now has to move through the loop. So it makes it kind of weird, but I got it in kind of the right place. So now we have this system so far. And what we do now is on this rope that has to come this way, we pass through again. And let's see. Actually, first let's just pull on this side as hard as we can. Yep, that's basically it. Then we pass it through here, and let's see if we can do more. Oh yeah, easy. Easily can do more. Alright, so it is worth it. What will you do with this information? Well, if you need a crazy tight treenet perimeter, it's worth adding this one more alpine butterfly to it. It does become a bit of a hassle, but for some treenets you would want the perimeter super tight, because otherwise, like if it's a big triangle, you just lose all of the area. Alright, so let's shift this along. Let's see how we're doing elsewhere. Boing, boing, and boing. This is pretty good. Readjust the knot. Loosen the half hitches. Slide it up closer. Tighten up the half hitches. 1 and 2. Now undo my tensioning system. And reset it to more proper distances, which will in this case be something like, I'd say this. This is good. I think this might be good. I can try and do slightly more, but I don't think so. Okay, awesome. Now we have it reset. Again, the same weave through, and barely some effort now. And we got a bunch more tension out. Lock it in place once more. 2 half hitches. Take out the slack here by undoing these half hitches on the perimeter rope. Starting to become difficult to loosen them. Alright. Slide all of this along. Awesome. We got some more tension out over here. Tighten up the 2 half hitches once more, and we'll do this trick again and again until I cannot anymore. So again, undo these, pull this out, slide the things around. This has been down really hard. I can still move it slightly. Let's do something like this. Alright. And once more. Okay, no more. Jesus Christ. The paracord is also taking a beating. Oh, it's definitely rubbed off the sheath some. So maybe don't trust the paracord with your life after you've done this to it. Alright, so I'd say that was basically it. I should have shaken and readjusted between these tries, but to be honest, I think I've done pretty well. Whew. I should have shaken and adjusted before this final pull, but I think I've done pretty well already. And what we do now is, oh my god, we try and get these half hitches out. Oh, jeez. Which by now are almost buried in the double fishermans of the diagonals, and make the other double fishermans once and twice. Go under, we can see the diagonals going this way. So I take the rope and cross it back twice down that way as well. So once and twice. Pass it through under the original one where that came through. This is the double fisherman's. And once we dress it, and we want to dress it as close and tight as we can, once we dress it, we have a beautiful double fisherman's connection. As you can see, this part isn't completely stretched. That's just going to happen. You're going to lose some. If these anchor points were closer, then we could get more stretch, but then you wouldn't have room for all the butterflies. So this is a bit of a compromise. Take out the tensioning system. And what we have now is a nice and tight perimeter. The whole tree actually moves towards me, as you can see. And that's how you make a tight perimeter rope. And yeah, if you want more, make this tight slightly smaller. Make sure this doesn't move away from here. Make the tiniest butterfly, alpine butterflies you can. And that's that. If you wanted to not lose as much tension in this final tying of knots, you could, instead of a double fisherman's, use a loop with the other rope through it, and then you could even pull with tension on the final setup. This won't be as pretty. It'll be bigger, it'll be clunkier. If it's in an awkward place on your net, it'll create a weird like tripping rotational hazard. So personally, I don't need that final tension as much in my experience in my nets, and I'm fine with using a beautiful double fisherman's. But if you really need maximum tightness, then after you have these as close as you can, get all the weaves through, you can make this a loop on one end, the other one through, crank on it some more, and then you won't lose as much tension. That's for the extreme tension needs.